There is a unique strength in a woman who is under the protection of Allah, a protection that shields her heart, her dignity, and her life from those who wish her harm. This protection is not always visible to the eyes, but it manifests in ways that those who pay attention will recognize. It is a divine safeguard that ensures she walks through life with a sense of peace, confidence, and unwavering, regardless of the negativity surrounding her. When Allah shields a woman from evil people, He doesn't just protect her physically, He protects her soul, her mind, and her emotional well-being. She becomes resilient against whispers of deceit, immune to manipulation, and guided away from those who would disrupt her purpose or harm her spirit. Recognizing these signs is not only empowering, but it is a reminder that true security comes from Him alone, and that when a woman's heart is aligned with Allah, no harm can truly reach her. She radiates inner peace not because her life is free from storms, but because her heart knows where to return when the storms ruse. Her calmness is not a coincidence, nor is it the result of a life untouched by pain. Rather, it is born from a deep, unshakable trust that whatever Allah allows into her life is ultimately for her growth, her protection, and her purification. She has learned to surrender her fears, not by suppressing them, but by placing them gently into the hands of the one who never disappoints. This peace is a gift, soft, subtle, and powerful, and it becomes a shield around her, repelling those whose intentions are dark or harmful. People may wonder how she maintains such stability when others would break, but they don't see her late night prayers, her whispered du'as, the tears she wipes before facing the world with grace. They don't see how often she chooses silence over retaliation, patience over reaction, and understanding over anger. Her peace is the fruit of a heart anchored in divine wisdom. When Allah protects a woman from evil people, He strengthens her inner world in a way that outward situations cannot disturb. She does not allow external chaos to enter her soul because she knows that true harm begins when she loses herself. She guards her heart with dhikr, with gratitude, with sincerity, and with the knowledge that Allah sees what others cannot. This awareness softens her face, her voice, her presence. She becomes someone whose peace is felt even before she speaks. Evil people feel unsettled around her because they cannot penetrate that tranquility. Manipulators cannot influence her because she refuses to internalize their negativity. She knows her worth is defined by Allah, not by the opinions or actions of those who wish her harm. Instead of reacting to darkness, she continues to shine, and that glow itself becomes a barrier. Her inner peace also gives her clarity to walk away when a situation is not good for her, clarity to distance herself when someone's energy feels heavy or deceptive, clarity to choose silence when words would be waste. She is not passive, she is selective. Her calmness is intentional. She no longer fights battles that aren't hers, nor does she exhaust herself trying to fix people who were never willing to change. She saves her emotional energy for what matters, her relationship with Allah, her growth, her purpose. When someone tries to provoke her, she responds with softness, not weakness, because she understands that losing peace for the sake of proving a point is a price too heavy. She would rather preserve her serenity than win an argument. And so she walks through life gracefully, untouched by the noise around her. People often assume that her peace means she has had an easy life, but in truth, it is the struggles that taught her how to surrender. She has cried in places where no one saw her, broken down in moments that seemed unbearable, and carried burdens that no one else knew. But every time she fell, Allah lifted her. Every time she doubted, He reassured her. Every time she was surrounded by people who wished her harm or spoke with envy, He distanced them from her life before she even understood the threat. Her peace is the echo of divine protection, a sign that Allah has guarded her from the emotional poison of others. When people betrayed her, He taught her resilience. When people left her, he brought her closer to him. When people undermined her, he strengthened her heart so their words dissolved before ever reaching her core. This inner peace shapes the way she moves through the world. She is not interested in competition, in attention, or in proving her worth. She has learned that the lotus battles are often fought inside, and she chooses harmony over noise. She forgives not because others deserve forgiveness, but because she refuses to let hate occupy space in her heart. She loves deeply, but she loves wisely. She trusts Allah more than she fears loss. Her peace is a sign that her soul is being held gently by the one who created it, and because of that, no evil person can shake her foundation. Her calmness is her armor, her silence is her wisdom, her softness is her strength, and her serenity is the clearest evidence that Allah is protecting her in ways she cannot always see, but always feel. Her intuition is sharp, not because she has mastered the art of reading people, but because Allah places a light in the hearts of those He protects, a light that allows them to sense what others cannot. This intuition is not loud or dramatic. It is subtle, like a quiet pull in the heart or a soft discomfort that refuses to be ignored. It is the kind of knowing that comes before the mind has gathered facts, before the eyes have recognized signs. Allah gives her this inner clarity so she can sense the difference between sincerity and deception, between someone who comes with goodness and someone who carries harm. Her heart becomes sensitive to the vibrations of people's intentions, and without needing explanations, she feels when a presence is unsafe, when a voice is insincere, or when a smile hides something darker. This inner compass is one of her greatest protections, guiding her away from evil people long before their harm reaches her. She may not always understand why she suddenly feels the need to distance herself from someone, but she acts on it because previous experiences have taught her to trust that instinct. That soft whisper in her soul has saved her from heartbreak, from manipulation, from betrayal, sometimes in ways she only realizes months or years later. When Allah protects a woman, He often does it by giving her the foresight to step back before she becomes entangled in someone's falsehood. Her intuition helps her recognize when a person's words do not match their actions, when their kindness feels performative, or when their company drains her spirit. She can sense when someone wants to use her, exploit her softness, or dim her light, and even if she cannot logically explain it, she feels a heaviness around such people, as if her heart is warning her. This is not a safe place for your soul. This intuition also gives her wisdom in choosing who to trust. She does not open her heart easily or quickly, not out of fear, but out of respect for the sacredness of her own spirit. She understands that not everyone deserves access to her gentleness or vulnerability. And so she evaluates people not by what they say, but by the energy they carry. She watches how they treat others, how they speak about those who are absent, how they behave when they gain or lose advantage. Her heart picks up on the smallest inconsistencies, the way someone avoids accountability, the way they shift blame, the way they mask envy with false praise. She sees these things without needing them to be spelled out. Allah sharpens her insight so she does not walk blindly into relationships that would damage her. Her intuition becomes even stronger in moments of confusion or choice. When she stands at crossroads, unsure of which path to walk, there is a stillness inside her that nudges her toward what is right, even if that choice is painful. Sometimes, she feels an unexplainable urge to leave a place, stop a conversation, end a connection, or protect her boundaries more firmly. And later, she understands that avoiding that situation saved her from emotional hurt or spiritual harm. This is not mere sensitivity. It is divine guidance. It is Allah steering her away from those who would corrupt her heart, diminish her confidence, or disturb her peace. There are times when others misunderstand her decisions. They may tell her she is overreacting, too cautious, or too distant, but she no longer explains herself to those who cannot feel what she feels. She knows that her intuition is not based on fear, it is rooted in faith. She has learned that when Allah places discomfort in her heart, there is always a reason, and ignoring it always comes with consequences. Her intuition is a compass that points her toward the people who bring her closer to Allah and away from those who would pull her into emotional or spiritual darkness. What makes her intuition truly powerful is that it is paired with humility. She does not assume she is always right. Instead, she constantly asks Allah for clarity, for discernment, for a heart that recognizes truth. This humility strengthens her inner guidance. It keeps her grounded, compassionate, and open-hearted, but never naive. She can forgive without reopening duels. She can be kind without allowing exploitation. And she can empathize without losing her center. She does not need to expose people or confront them harshly. She simply withdraws, protects her peace, and lets Allah reveal their peace. And that quiet retreat is often enough to distance her from harm. Her sharp intuition is truly a divine gift, a silent protection that moves ahead of her, guarding her from seen and unseen. It is the shield Allah places inside her, ensuring that no evil person can enter her life without her heart sensing the warning long before the threat becomes real. She is steadfast in her faith, not because life has been gentle with her, but because every hardship has taught her where true strength comes from. Her faith is not built on convenience. It is built on conviction, on the quiet moments when she chose trust over fear, surrender over resistance, and patience over despair. She has faced seasons where nothing made sense, where the people she depended on walked away, where her heart felt unbearably heavy, yet she held onto Allah with both hands. Even when her voice trembled in dua, even when tears blurred her vision, she kept turning back to Him. Her faith does not waver because it has roots in her soul, roots watered by trials, nourished by gratitude, and strengthened by reliance on the one who never leaves her. Her steadfastness becomes a shield against the intentions of evil people. When negativity tries to rattle her, she turns inward and realigns with Allah. When someone tries to harm her spirit with hurtful words or manipulative behavior, she seeks comfort in her prayers instead of retaliating. When the world pressures her to compromise her values, she stands firm, not out of stubbornness, but out of reverence. Her relationship with Allah is not something she treats casually. It is her refuge, her anchor, her clarity. She knows that people may betray her, misunderstand her, or fail her, but Allah will never abandon her. This certainty makes her unshakable, even when everything around her feels unstable. In a world full of noise, she chooses connection with Allah as her quiet sanctuary. She finds peace in bowing her head to the ground, in the stillness of her dhikr, in the verses that ease her heart as if they were written just for her. She doesn't seek validation from people because she knows her worth is held by the one who created her. Evil people cannot touch her soul because she keeps her heart protected behind the doors of her faith. They cannot deceive faith because faith sharpens her perception. They cannot control her because faith gives her direction. They cannot break her because faith has rebuilt her more times than they know. Her steadfastness also means she doesn't lose herself when life tests her. She doesn't crumble under pressure or fall apart at the first sign of trouble. Instead, she turns her hardship into fuel for spiritual growth. Every test reminds her that Allah is near, watching, guiding, and shaping her. Her trials become moments of transformation, not destruction. She understands that faith does not promise a life free from pain, but it promises that no pain will be without purpose. And so she walks with a kind of confidence that confuses those who wish her harm. Confidence that comes from knowing that Allah is guarding her footsteps and rewriting her story with wisdom she cannot always see. When she is wronged, she trusts that Allah sees it. When she is hurt, she trusts that Allah will heal her. When she is abandoned, she trusts that Allah will replace what was lost with something better. This trust makes her resilient in a way that unnerves those who expect her to fall apart. Evil people cannot disturb a heart that has surrendered to Allah. They cannot steal peace from a soul that has learned to hand over its worries to Him. Her faith becomes her armor. Soft but impenetrable, gentle but strong, people often mistake her calmness for simplicity, but they don't realize how much effort it takes to remain. She disciplines her heart, trains her mind, and constantly purifies her intentions. She chooses forgiveness even when revenge seems easier. She chooses gratitude even when life feels heavy. She chooses hope even when the future is unclear. Each of these choices strengthens her faith a little more, forming layers of protection that guard her from emotional and spiritual harm. Her steadfastness inspires others, even those who cannot articulate why they feel drawn to her presence. There is a softness in her that comes from spiritual contentment. There is a wisdom in her eyes that comes from relying on something higher than worldly circumstances. There is a serenity in her voice that comes from speaking with Allah before speaking to anyone else. Her faith reflects in her behavior, her decisions, her boundaries, her compassion. And in moments when she stands alone, she is not truly alone. She feels the quiet companionship of Allah, the reassurance that every tear is seen, every effort recorded, every struggle counted. This companionship is what keeps her steady, no matter who tries to disturb her peace. Evil people cannot harm her soul because her faith is her sanctuary, her shield, and her constant source of strength. She is steadfast, not because she is fearless, but because she knows who she can always return to, who she can always trust, and who will always protect her in ways humans never can. She attracts sincere people because sincerity recognizes sincerity, just as light is naturally drawn to light. There is a purity in her heart that makes those with genuine intentions feel safe around her, seen around her, and valued around her. She doesn't have to chase friendships or beg for loyalty. Those who are meant for her drift into her life with the ease of divine timing. Allah protects her from evil people not only by removing them, but by replacing them with souls who uplift, strengthen, and remind her of Him. Her presence becomes a quiet refuge for the honest-hearted, a place where they feel no need to pretend, no need to hide, no need to wear masks. They come into her life because her softness feels like home, and her integrity inspires them to become better versions of themselves. Sincere people sense that her intentions are clean. She does not give love for gain, she gives it for Allah. She does not show kindness to impress, she shows it because it is part of her nature. She does not offer support to be praised, she does it because she empathizes deeply. This purity draws the right people toward her, those who appreciate depth over appearance, loyalty over convenience, honesty over flattery. These people see her heart even when she tries to hide it. They are drawn to the authenticity of her character, to the quiet courage she carries, to the peace that surrounds her. And because they come with honest hearts, they protect her as she protects them, forming relationships that feel more like blessings than coincidences. She doesn't have to filter people endlessly because Allah does that for her. He removes those who come with jealousy, false affection, or hidden agendas, often through circumstances that seem confusing at first. But with time, she realizes that every person who left was replaced, sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly, by someone who brought clarity, sincerity, and goodness into her life. This divine filtering becomes one of her greatest protections. People with harmful intentions find themselves uncomfortable around her. They may try to get close, but the purity of her heart becomes like a mirror that exposes their motives, and soon they drift away. They cannot stay long in the presence of someone whose soul is protected by Allah. Sincere people are drawn to her because she listens deeply, not just to words, but to emotions. She understands pain without needing a full explanation. She supports without expecting anything in return. She celebrates others without envy, loves without greed, and forgives without keeping score. These qualities are rare, and those who value sincerity naturally recognize and cherish them. Her gentleness does not make her weak. It makes her magnetic. Her compassion does not make her naive. It makes her realtor knave. Her kindness does not make her vulnerable. It makes her spiritually rich. Honest souls gravitate toward her because they see in her something pure, something real, something that aligns with the goodness they seek in their own lives. Her attraction to sincere people is also a reflection of her boundaries. She does not entertain gossip, belittling, manipulation, or emotional games. She distances herself from people who thrive on negativity or deception. She protects her peace fiercely, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. This self-respect acts like a gate, allowing only those with good intentions to enter her life. And because she values sincerity so deeply, she creates an environment where only sincere people can thrive. She sets the tone for the relationships she attracts. Sincere people love her because she doesn't demand perfection. She values honesty. They trust her because she keeps their secrets, supports their dreams, and speaks truth gently. They feel comfortable being vulnerable around her because she never uses their weaknesses against them. Her presence becomes a healing space, a place where hearts find room to breathe. And she attracts these people because her heart is aligned with Allah. She asks him to surround her with the righteous, and he responds by sending her souls who reflect the goodness she chooses. Her sincerity becomes a magnet, her faith becomes a shield, her character becomes a filter, her purity becomes a light. And so her circle, though small, becomes precious, a group of souls who genuinely care for her, who pray for her, who support her, and who protect her with the same sincerity they see in her. She attracts sincere people because Allah protects her from those who are not sincere. And in this divine protection, her relationships become sources of strength, comfort, and spiritual nourishment. Her life fills with the kind of people who feel like blessings, not burdens. People whose presence reminds her that Allah's protection often comes in the form of hearts He chooses for her. She recovers quickly from harm, not because she is unaffected by pain, but because she knows exactly where to place her. Her strength does not lie in pretending she is unhurt. It lies in her ability to rise with grace long before others expect her to. When someone harms her, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally, she may bend, she may break for a moment, she may cry in solitude, but she never stays shattered. Her heart has learned the sacred art of healing through returning to Allah. She knows that every hurt is temporary, every betrayal a lesson, every disappointment a redirection, and every heartbreak a doorway to something better. Her recovery is swift because she refuses to let pain become her identity. She experiences it, honors it, learns from it, and then releases it back to the one who can transform wounds into wisdom. Her resilience is not born from denial, it is born from deep trust. She trusts that Allah sees what was done to her, that He records every tear, that He knows every intention behind every harm. This certainty becomes her quiet strength. She does not seek revenge or wait for apologies that may never come. She understands that the healing she needs cannot come from the same people who hurt her. It must come from the source of all healing. And so, instead of clinging to hurtful memories, she allows them to pass through her heart like a storm that clears the... She knows she deserves peace more than she deserves explanations. This wisdom helps her move forward faster than others can comprehend. When life wounds her, she doesn't collapse inward, she expands upward. She prays more sincerely, reflects more deeply, and draws closer to Allah. The more she is tested, the more she strengthens her spiritual core. What others see as heartbreak, she sees as purification. What others see as loss, she sees as protection. What others see as a closed door, she sees as an answered prayer she didn't yet understand. This mindset shifts the way she heals. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? She asks, of what is Allah guiding me toward through this? This shift allows her to rise quickly, not because the pain is small, but because her hope is bigger. People wonder how she manages to stay soft after being hurt. They wonder how she continues to trust, to love, to give, to believe. But they do not see the inner dialogue she has with herself, the reminders she repeats, the faith, the strength she cultivates through patience. They do not see that she forgives for her own peace, not because others deserve forgiveness. They do not see the nights she spends releasing her anxieties into prayer until her heart feels light again. They only see the calm she returns with, not the storm she survived. And so they label her strong, not realizing how much softness goes into that strength. She recovers quickly because she refuses to carry what was never meant for her. She doesn't cling to people who show her their true colors. She doesn't bind her worth to those who undervalue her. She doesn't allow bitterness to take root in her heart. She lets go gracefully, even when letting go hurts. She chooses emotional cleanliness over emotional clutter. She chooses peace over the need to prove a point. She chooses healing over dwelling. These choices build an inner resilience that allows her to bounce back faster than any loans. Her quick recovery also comes from understanding that harm is not the end of her story. She knows that Allah replaces every loss with something better, strengthens her through every hardship, and grows her through every disappointment. This divine reassurance is what helps her rise again and again. Pain does not weaken her. It refines her. Betrayal does not harden her. It teaches her boundaries. Loss does not break her. It redirects her to something more aligned with her destiny. Each time she is hurt, she becomes more grounded, more self-aware, more spiritually aligned. And because she heals with sincerity, she does not carry scars that poison her future. She carries lessons. She carries clarity. She carries wisdom wrapped in softness and strength wrapped in humility. Her rapid recovery becomes a form of protection from Allah. Protection from drowning in sorrow, from being stuck in bitter, from losing herself in the shadows of what happened. She recovers quickly because Allah lifts her. He does not allow her to remain in the hands of those who harmed her. He pulls her out gently, quietly, beautifully. And every time she rises stronger, softer, wiser, and more connected to Him than before. She maintains her dignity and boundaries because she understands that her heart for peace and her peace and her worth are sacred gifts entrusted to her by Allah. She has learned, sometimes painfully, that not everyone deserves access to her inner world and not everyone is meant to walk with her. Her dignity is not arrogance. It is a quiet confidence rooted in knowing that she is accountable to Allah before anyone. She does not allow people to diminish her, speak to her disrespectfully, or meddle with her emotional well-being. Even when she loves deeply, she does not lose herself in that love. She gives without abandoning her values, forgives without erasing her self-respect, and connects without letting others cross limits that protect her. Her boundaries are not walls to keep love out. They are shields to keep harm away. They protect the purity of her heart, the clarity of her mind, and the serenity of her soul. Her dignity shows in the way she walks away from places where she is not valued, even when her heart aches. It shows in the way she chooses silence instead of arguing with those who do not listen, and distance instead of forcing relationships that drain her. She is not afraid to let go of what is hurting her because she believes in the one who replaces loss with something better. She knows that maintaining her dignity sometimes means saying no, even when saying yes feels easier. It means choosing self respect over temporary approval, choosing emotional cleanliness over messy entanglements, and choosing truth over convenience. Every choice she makes reflects her understanding that her soul deserves peace, and peace cannot coexist with people who repeatedly cross lines. Her boundaries are not harsh, they are graceful. She expresses them gently but firmly. When someone tries to manipulate, she does not fight fire with fire. She simply steps back. When someone undermines her, she does not chase their validation. She leans closer to Allah, who reminds her that her worth is not determined by human opinions. When someone tries to take advantage of her kindness, she does not close her heart. She becomes wiser about where she pours that kindness. She refuses to let bitterness shape her, but she also refuses to allow disrespect to continue unchecked. Her boundaries are a form of mercy for herself and for others. They teach people how to treat her, and they teach her how to honor herself. People often misinterpret her dignity as distance, but they do not know what it cost her to build these boundaries. They do not see the moments when she tolerated too much, forgave too often, or carried more than she should have. They do not see how deeply she once gave until giving became exhausting. They do not know how hard she had to work to reclaim her self-worth. Her boundaries are not born from pride. They are born from experience. They were shaped by disappointments that taught her that love without limits becomes self-destruction, compassion without discernment becomes exploitation, and leniency without boundaries becomes permission for others to harm her. She maintains her dignity even when she is misunderstood. She knows that people will judge her for being too distant, too selective, or too strong. But she also knows that Allah sees the intentions behind every boundary she sets. He knows when she steps back to protect her peace. He knows when she remains silent to avoid unnecessary conflict. He knows when she distances herself to guard her heart from harm. And Allah's understanding is enough for her. She answers to Him, not to the expectations of people who do not understand her journey. Her dignity becomes a shield that evil people cannot toot. Manipulators cannot prey on her because she does not abandon her values. Narcissists cannot control her because she does not seek validation from them. Jealous hearts cannot unsettle her because she remains centered in her self-worth. She protects her emotional space with wisdom, refusing to entertain people who thrive on creating chaos or confusion. This self-protection is one of the clearest signs that Allah is guarding her. He strengthens her inner comfort, giving her the courage to say, enough, when something no longer aligns with her spiritual well-being. And in maintaining her boundaries, she creates room for healthier connections, relationships rooted in mutual respect, genuine care, and sincerity. She does not cling to anyone out of fear of being alone. She knows that being alone with dignity is far better than being surrounded by people who diminish her. She knows that Allah fills the empty spaces left by those she releases. Her dignity becomes her guiding star. Her boundaries become her protection, and her self-respect becomes the foundation upon which she builds a life of peace. She maintains her dignity and boundaries because she knows that her heart is too precious to be mishandled, her peace too valuable to be compromised, and her soul too sacred to be affected by people who do not carry goodness. And Allah strengthens her quietly, ensuring that she never loses herself in the process of loving others.